Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla TV, where you can watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the REV'IT Jerez Race Gauntlet, available at RevZilla.com. Looking at the Jerez is the top-level, pro-level race gauntlet in the REV'IT line. It's been around for a few years. This is the glove that we see Puniet wearing in MotoGP, that we see Alvaro Bautista wearing in MotoGP. Tried and true, it's become a staple in the REV'IT line for a sub $300 price point. Now, a few different colors available. This is a black, and there's a lot here. Let's first jump into sizing. The first thing you have to remember is this glove is going to break in. The Jerez is a full leather product. It's a mixture of cowhide and kangaroo. It's going to break in about 5 to 10%. So I'm wearing a size extra large. This is my size. I do own a pair of these. This is what I do my track days in currently. Actually a huge fan of this glove just from a comfort and protection standpoint, but the extra large is going to be my size and it will break in, so keep that in mind. Not like a textile product that the size is the size when it comes out of the gates. Now if we look at it, 4 colors available, and we look at the main back of the hand, there's a lot going on here. And again, it's meant to be comfortable, it's meant to be ventilated, and it's meant to be protective. The whole key for any product on the racetrack is that it needs to do its job, be functional, but not be a distraction, because when you're in the zone, you don't need to be thinking about something that fits oddly or something pinching or something that's too tight. So this glove is meant to work in a very ergonomic way. Now REV'IT designs all of its products on a CAD machine. And they do that with ergonomics in mind. So rather than just making panels and stitching them together and then testing it on a model and hoping they get it right, they really start with the computer side of things, and they figure out a way to put this dual compound honeycomb slider and protector on the back of your hand and have it sit properly on your knuckle. They figure out a way to do this dual compound slider and aluminum slider seated in this honeycomb material. They figure out a way to wrap it around your ulna on the lateral side of your hand. Again, it's just something that goes into the fit and finish of these products, and it's one of the reasons why they've sold so well, but why we're so happy with them. They just don't come back. They're phenomenal. People seem to have a great experience with them. We certainly have. So let's dive in here. Looking at the back of the hand, full cowhide. So you're looking at race grade premium cowhide throughout the back of the hand. You are going to have these dual compound sliders. Now on the black, you can see the honeycomb. And what the honeycomb does is it's this TPU, this thermoplastic polyurethane piece here, and it's injection molded, and it's actually going to allow for shock absorption. Seated within that, we have these coated aluminum knuckles, and you can see that they have a matte black finish to them, or a satin black. We have it here on the knuckle as well. Now I'm going to reach down to my left for a second, and I'm going to show you a crashed out version. This is actually Allie's glove, who's on Team Zilla, and she had a couple crashes actually in her pair. This is a black and white, or this is the white and red version, but you can see how the honeycomb slider, and you can see how the knuckle protection comes into play in a crash situation. You can see how that's going to shred down, and you can see the guts are underneath it. Now again, this glove took 2 different crashes with Allie on her bike at NJMP, and you can see how all the sliders, worked out. So again, some proof in the pudding there. Moving up the back of the hand, we've talked about the sliders. You're going to see elasticated panels mid-digitally. You'll see these sliders, and they're again very small. They're made out of the same material that we see knee sliders typically made out of. They're done mid-digitally here on the knuckles, and they're seated with some foam backing for comfort. Double reinforced leather here on top, again for additional protection. And these pieces, you can see they're very small. They have a small profile. They also come to a point, and they come to a point to aid in sliding. When you have something that has a little bit less surface area that's raised, what's going to do is that less amount of friction with the ground is going to produce a better slide without the chance of creating additional friction. As we move, you can see it very well here laterally across the hand. You're going to see our honeycomb slider moving up. We have another dual compound slider that sits laterally on the heel of the hand. Again, it's going to have that honeycomb material and be made out of that TPU, so it's going to provide shock absorption as well as sliding. And then moving up, you'll see more of these knee puck style mini sliders along the outside of the finger. And notice that it's one long piece of leather, and that encapsulates that seam really, really well. Starting to move over, rolling towards the thumb, you're going to see superfabric on the outside of the thumb. Now superfabric is a very special material that we see sometimes in jackets, sometimes in gloves. It's tiny ceramic laser welded plates, and it's 14 times more abrasion resistant than Kevlar, 4 times more abrasion resistant than leather. And that really speaks to how long you can slide on it. Now we see the interlocking balls here on a glove, and sometimes when you see it on jackets, you'll see the lower profile plates. Moving to the palm. It's a kangaroo leather palm for tactile feel, lightweightedness, and response. It's going to have Scholler Keprotec reinforcement. You also have Pittard's goatskin leather here in the control area, which is really beefy and it's meant to not wear out over time. Also notice heel of the hand, large piece of single leather. Temper foam here in the ball of the thumb. We move to our dual comp slider that I talked about earlier on the outside of the hand to guard against that low side. And then moving up the outside, laterally along the outside of the little finger, again, a very crash prone area of this glove, you're going to see additional sliders and then that single piece of leather. Some manufacturers, every once in a while will get lazy and they'll do panels of leather. Less seams is a good thing, less exposed seams is a good thing. It's nice that it's one continuous piece of leather that comes all the way down and then even covers this micro wrist adjustment strap. Notice the fingers. The fingers have a slight pre-curve to them. Again, they're going to break in with you depending on your style and your shape of your hand. But again, external stitching. They're using a European style thread. It used to be Kevlar thread in this glove, but they felt the Kevlar thread was too strong and it was actually shredding the leather. So what they've done is they've made some rolling changes to this glove over time, and now you're just better suited for a glove that's going to stay together and it's going to keep your hand coated and protected in the worst case scenario, which is a get off on the track. Looking down towards the adjustment areas here. Single cuff. We have our single wrist adjuster, and then we have a double cuff closure that has the 3D mesh lining behind it. That 3D mesh is going to wick sweat away. It's going to provide better airflow than if it was just regular padding or a regular material that wasn't aerated like that. And then notice here we have our cuff that also has punctuation that's going to provide some good airflow. It's a very light, I'm not even going to call it micro fleece, it's just a very comfortable liner. There's no thermal element to this glove. And the other thing I want to key in on is you're going to see this yellow line that runs all the way up the medial side of this glove. The entire back of this hand, underneath all of these sliders, in between your hand, the external piece of leather, and what ultimately would be the racetrack, is a layer of Nomex. Now, Nomex is a material that was first developed for firefighters and then made its way into auto racing. It's the hoodie that you see a NASCAR rider put on. Nomex is a flame retardant material. It's a heat retardant material. It creates that great shield. It does not pass heat to the hand. So it's going to give you an additional barrier of protection from heat, not just from braiding and not just from impact here along the back of your hand. Now remember, the Jerez has been around for a little bit of time. It's been around for a few years. We've seen them make some updates and some rolling changes. We've seen the colorways change here and there. But again, it continues to be one of the sub $300 staples in the REV'IT race glove line, or really in the race line for that matter at RevZilla.com. You see it featured perennially in our race gauntlet gear reviews. It provides a tremendous amount of bang for the buck. We personally here at RevZilla.com have worn it. A lot of us, including myself, have worn it on the racetrack, and we're big fans of it. And from a style perspective, it lives up to the best of what we've seen from a lot of other manufacturers that we do have at RevZillas.com. So keep that in mind. Leave us your feedback. If you're currently wearing a Jerez, if you're seeing it for the first time, leave us your questions and your comments on the product detail page at RevZilla.com. You can also leave us your questions and your feedback on the RevZilla TV YouTube video page, which you could be watching right now. You can also subscribe to us at RevZilla TV on YouTube. Stay up to date with the latest gear reviews that we're constantly producing here at RevZilla. And as always, call our gear geeks. Sizing questions, functionality questions, the difference between the REV'IT Jerez and something like the SLR, which would be more basic within the REV'IT lineup. Fire those questions at our guys at cs@RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. As always, it's certainly over $39. We'll ship for free, exchange for free, no restock fee if you need to send it back to us, and can earn TeamZilla cash on any order over $100 to be applied to your next order by continuing to shop with us. Thanks for watching our detailed review and opinion of the REV'IT Jerez Race Gauntlet professional level glove available at RevZilla.com/REV'IT. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.